Hi, so before I begin, I would like to thank you for agreeing to be interviewed today. As I explained when we first talked, I am working on a college project for a class called Studies in Compassion. I will ask you some questions about compassion in your life. If you do not want to answer, you don't have to. If you want to add details or elaborate on any of these questions, that would really help me. I anticipate this will take 30 minutes or less to complete. So may I have your permission to record you for this video?
Yeah.
May I have your permission to use your first and last name in your image for this project?
Yes.
May I please ask your name, occupation, and what city you call home?
My name is Isaac Lalonde, and I am an assistant manager at a gas station, and I call Mount Pleasant my home.
Awesome. So how would you describe yourself?
I would describe myself as an introvert that likes people. I am somebody who is very empathetic, and I also like to interact with people despite my introvert tendencies. I'm also somebody who genuinely wants to see people succeed.
That's awesome. How do you feel today?
I feel pretty good. It's been a little bit snowy today and a little bit colder today, which isn't the best, but
Yeah, the roads have been pretty slippery. I'm not a fan. How do you really feel today?
I definitely think that I'm a little bit anxious, but overall I'm feeling pretty good. I want to get some more stuff done today, but other than that, I'm doing okay.
Okay. I would like to ask you to tell me a story about a difficult time in your life when you received someone's compassion.
Well, when I was younger, there was definitely like times where my dad wasn't always around as much, and he wasn't the most available father to begin with when he was around. So it was something where when I was in baseball and things like that, he wasn't always involved, and I had one particular mother of another teammate of mine who on the baseball team who was very supportive of me, and she always cheered when I was up to bat just as much as she would cheer for her son and things like that, and she always would bring snacks for the entire team, and it was just something that I appreciated probably more than she realized.
That's awesome. It's always nice to have somebody there for you and you don't expect them to be.
Yes.
So, when you remember the compassion that was shown to you, how do you feel about reliving this memory?
I feel like she definitely deserves more praise than she probably receives, and I think people like that deserve more praise than they probably receive, and it's something that I think people should definitely work on, trying to show compassion back to people like that.
Can you tell me a story of a time when you offered someone compassion?
Well, when I was with my ex, she has an 11-year-old son who is in baseball, and his father was not really around as much, and it's something where he had promised to be around and to help with baseball, and he just wasn't, and so I tried to step up and help in that area, and her son ended up feeling a lot more confident and able to uh, help and able to be good in that area.
Awesome.
I got distracted by this. We can edit that out.
Thank you. Is there a time you or someone else needed compassion and didn't receive it? Why do you think this is?
I think that there are a lot of people that don't get the compassion that they deserve because the world is just like that, and a lot of people have internal struggles that they don't necessarily feel like they can talk about or necessarily feel like they'll receive the compassion that they deserve in return for their struggles. So it's something where communication needs to be more openly received, and the ability for people to talk about those internal conflicts needs to be well received.
For sure. Is there a time when you wish you would have shown more compassion but didn't?
Yes, most definitely. I think especially when I was a kid, I know that there were definitely times with my siblings where I definitely wish I would have shown more compassion. I think that there's definitely times in my life with just classmates and things like that growing up. It's something you look back and you really wish that you could change it, but you gotta move on and learn from those mistakes.
And that's the best thing you can do. Do you think compassion is important? In what ways?
Yes, I think that it's one of the most important attributes. I think that it's something that even if you don't understand somebody's struggle, when you show them compassion, it shows them that you have a invested interest in helping them and an invested interest in their struggle, which is something that a lot of people don't receive. And I think that's something that more people should work on, and more people should be open to being there for people who are going through these things.
Yeah, of course. If you were to offer words of wisdom about compassion, what would they be?
I think that it's something that overall you should aim for consistency. I think that it's something, it's easy to be compassionate when you are doing well. It's easy to be compassionate when you are being, when you are being shown compassion. It's not easy when you are going through hard things. So I think when you are going through the hard things, if you're able to show compassion, I think that's something that's really important and a big virtue uh, for that shows what a good person can really be.
Yeah, of course. What does compassion mean to you?
I think that compassion is, again, one of the most important things. I think that it shows that somebody cares. I think that it shows that, like I said, they have an invested interest, and I think that's something that can't necessarily be replaced by just anything else. I mean, you can have support in yourself, and I think that's very, very important, but sometimes having the compassion of others helps a
Yeah,
lot.
of course. Um, in what ways do you practice self-compassion?
I practice self compassion through just being there for myself and allowing myself to heal, and also going to therapy. I think that's one of the most important things, and I wish that was a more available resource to more people. Um, and I think also just in trying to learn about myself, trying to recognize the things that I really want to do.
Mm-hmm. In what way, what do you find harder to practice, compassion or self-compassion?
Uh, Definitely self-compassion for me. I think that's something that stems from how I was raised in a lot of ways, but I think that's something that I've been working on and I've improved on in a lot of ways. So I'm really proud of myself for that. And I think self-compassion is something that a lot more people struggle with than maybe they even realize, and it's something that's really hard to admit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you give us an example of some growth that you've had in this area of self-compassion?
Yeah, I think that I used to be very critical of myself, and I still can be, but I think to a degree being your biggest critic is a great thing, but I think that that criticism has to be well-founded and has to be within reason, and I think that that's something that I've been working on and have had a lot of growth in.
What helped you grow in this area?
I think having pride in the person that I am. I think being proud of the things that I create, the things that I am doing, the people that I'm around. I think that's something that uh, helps that a ton.
Could you give us some words of wisdom about self-compassion and how maybe some ways to make it easier on days that it's harder to practice?
Yeah, I think being able to recognize both the best case scenario and the worst case scenario at any given time. So if you have something where you're about to do something and you're afraid because you think that you can't do it, try to imagine the best case scenario, like the absolute best thing that can happen, and imagine the absolute worst case scenario, because that will put that into perspective to where you can really evaluate whether it's worth doing.
Yeah, for sure. That's all I have. I really thank you for being a part of this. If you have any questions, you can email or text me.
Of course.